Jen St. Dennis back from Business in Vancouver with an interesting story. Mining companies, Jen, will not just be subject to regulations and guidelines here in BC and Canada, but their practices will be monitored elsewhere as well?
Yeah, well, not exactly monitored. So let's go into the story. So, of course, we know that Canadian mining companies, they have operations all around the world, and often in countries that themselves have sort of a very poor human rights abuses. Countries like Eritrea or Guatemala that have really struggled with conflict in the past. And so right now, when Canadian companies or the contractors that they're using in those countries are accused of, degrading the environment or labor rights abuses, the Canadian government has not really gotten involved. But a lot of people are arguing that, this isn't just wrong, but it's also tarnishing Canada's corporate reputation abroad. Now, Ottawa did have this corporate social responsibility counselor in place for mining companies, but she resigned 4 years into a 5-year term because a lot of the companies refused to participate in the process. And so a lot of those complaints that she was working on kind of fell by the wayside. So now Ottawa is committing to putting a new counselor in place. And what they say that is if companies refuse to participate in the process, that Ottawa will withdraw any government support or help that they were offering to those companies. Now, it's still a pretty toothless process, though. She can't do investigations or issue reports or any kind of recommendations. But advocacy groups still say that it's a small step in the right direction. Now, there is another way that these injustices could come to light, and that is through the Canadian court system. So in the past few months, a couple of Vancouver-based mining companies, and it's also been happening in Ontario, have been sued in the Canadian court system for alleged human rights violations that happened in other countries. Now, obviously, those cases are going to be really complicated, and we'll have to see how they progress through the courts and what the outcomes of those are.
All right, thanks for that, Jen St. Dennis from Business in Vancouver. You can get more business news online at BIV.com.